how do we do it? How do we attract a diverse set of staff, employees, partners? And then how do we retain them? And that can be from employees to actual business relationships as well, third parties. You know, do we start questioning their policies and their approaches? You want to tackle that first, Vicky?
Well, it's a big question. I mean, luckily, you know, I have one silver bullet for you all. I don't. I suppose the truth of this is that it's all about the environment. Going back to the environment and culture piece that you create in your teams, and it can be very challenging having a diverse team. Diversity implies that you've got different points of view, people coming from different backgrounds, and you have to really lean into that. I heard a great quote the other day. Somebody said, you know, when you're part of a monoculture, it feels fantastic because everybody thinks like you and everybody agrees with you. And I think you have to be willing to put yourself outside of that. If you're part of a monoculture, if you're part of a team that all sort of looks the same from the same background, I think it is a leap of faith to say, do you know what, we're going to embrace people who think differently, who have different backgrounds, different experiences, have different ideas about where our product could go as well. And there isn't one thing I've found to do in that other than just sort of plug away at the culture, think about the ways of listening, and great conversations, I think, form the basis of this. Teaching your team to really listen to each other and look past certain differences they might have in the team. I do think the metrics and the targets are a double-edged sword. They're a lagging metric. They're telling you whether you have done well, but aiming for a number of XYZ characteristic, I don't find it that useful, to be honest. I think it's more about create the seeds, create the environment, and then wait for the results to come from that and trust in that process.
And I think a lot of companies go through that, and you know, when everybody starts this journey, it's all about, shall we make a metric, shall we set ourselves a target? And we all go through the conversation of saying, well, we won't really have a target, but we'll get diversity within our interview pool. And then we're kind of kicking the problem over to our recruitment companies, right? So that becomes a bit challenging. So Mark, you know, in this area, you were talking to me earlier on. You've just opened up in Rotterdam. You're starting to get, you know, multinationals within your business, which is perhaps something a little bit new. How's that helping you or challenging you in a diverse sense?
Yeah, it's a very different culture in Holland, and and we're building a new factory. We've got a whole 4 or 5 shifts to employ over there. So we've been really from the ground up. We've been planning on how we can create that diverse culture. And we've been doing the same in London as well. And what we've really found is that we never go out to agencies, so which upsets a lot of agencies for employing people. But we use the name of Innocent, and we go on LinkedIn and we start looking for people, and we have thousands of applicants, so we're really lucky with that, with the brand name. But what we realised is we weren't getting the right diversity by going on LinkedIn. So I think there's probably a generalisation there of people who are looking LinkedIn for a job. But what we did find is if you actually go out there, there is specific websites for different diverse groups. So there's people, as mentioned before, there's people who've not gone to university or don't want to go to university. There's websites specifically for women, and yeah, we've been so successful. So we didn't set a target, or it must be 50-50 men, women, but we did reach 50%, which was brilliant in the UK. But then over in Holland, I think it was 75% women. Wow. So these things just make a difference. It was amazing just going, we just advertise in different places, and it's something so simple. And working with a talent team, it was amazing how successful we were. You know, so that's one of my recommendations out there. Maybe not a silver bullet, but talk to your talent teams and talk to them where they advertise. I think if they can know about these diverse groups, and if they don't, drop me a line, and I'll share what we've learned over the last 6-12 months. But it's not difficult if you just make an effort.
Brilliant. Thanks, Mark. So Victor, you just painted this great world that you live in, but you also said you're the head of engineering, right? You're the guy who's responsible for delivering the technology, yeah? And we all know that you know, recruiting any technologist, let alone anybody that might be slightly more diverse than the normal privileged technology pool that we all fish in. I mean, are they all coming and working for you and they're not working for us? You know, is it just your brand is getting them to turn up, or do you suffer the same challenges that the rest of us? We all aspire to do it, but it's blooming hard.
So we face the challenge. We face the challenge of like there is like a lot of companies, a lot of startups offering like ridiculous packages for around the world, right? The truth is like a lot of people come to us. A lot of people message me on LinkedIn or in YC Combinator in the platform, like, hey, I'm non-binary or I'm trans, and I saw you advertising, can I take an interview? And we are like, oh yeah, great, absolutely. The thing is like how you find these people actively is being the biggest challenge we had in the last 9 months. I mean, we literally scourged the earth and we have like 600, 700 reaches. And it's hard, it's really hard, like, because obviously you cannot start an interview by, hey, do you like gay bars?
Yeah.
You know, you cannot do that. So what I do personally, and this is my approach, is I open the space and I'm really transparent about it. I'm a white, cis, bisexual man, so I share because I believe like interviews, even when they are like at scale, they don't need to be an interrogatory. It does not need to be I'm gonna get all the answers from you and that's it. I like to create that small spaces where I use my pronouns. I use hint that I'm into this thing. I just talk about like, yes, I'm bisexual, or I'll talk about my husband when the opportunity, you know, it's small details that people that might be interviewing with you that they are not comfortable to share, and that's absolutely fine. They find like, oh, they are not only a product focused to LGBTQ people. It's a company that actually is pretty queer, and we say we are gay as fuck. Or companies gay as fuck. I mean, it's like, sorry, my language. So we manifest that by being open about it. We don't shy about it. We don't care. We are very vocal, and that's what we do. We are lucky because having a dating platform, also from the dating app, sometimes people through the communities, it's like, hey, I have a suggestion. I'm a developer, and we are like, oh yeah, which stack is your stack? They're like, okay, let me send you a message. Hey, look, I'm hiring. You want to interview? So it's the minority because not everyone have the confidence or the not the confidence. I don't know how to articulate this, but people look at an app and sometimes they feel they are not good enough, or because they are like non-binary trans, they are gonna find the resistance. So that is why we made the effort to put ourselves out there and being vocal and being unapologetic about it.
Okay, I think that's great. I'm not sure that applies to everybody, right? I'm not sure what everybody else's brand motto is, but it's probably not gay as fuck. But, you know, I mean, it could be, I guess, right?
No, yeah, but there is something it can be done, and it is representation and being really like living diversity. Because you were talking about your scaling in Rotterdam. I live in the Netherlands. It's a very open country, very diverse. I mean, it's there, right? But when you talk about your talent pool being very gifted, when you look inwards, and if you look specifically at your C-level, what is the people seeing there? It's like old people like you and I. Then the people, when look at that, that sends a message, because it's like, oh, they want diversity, they were hiring people of different backgrounds, but the people making all the decisions are white, men or women, highly educated, with like a very privileged background. And it's like the challenge is like how you break that, and that is affordable for everyone. That is not only for a company as gay as us.
That's true. Let's ask Paul about representation, right? Your ethnicity, Paul, you know, puts you in a position where you are representing to a certain extent, yeah? I'm guessing you'll probably class yourself as privileged, as with most other people in this room, yeah? How do you use that? Do you not? Do you suppress it? What do you use? And also just talk to us a little bit about retention as well. We've talked about attraction, but talk to us about retention.
Perfect. So I think for a long part of my career, I always felt like, is it harder at times because of the colour of my skin? I come from a privilege. was born, brought up here, lucky enough to grow up in London, multicultural town, grew up with multicultural friends. But then there are times through your career where you're challenged, and you're not even challenged by, it's not just white people or, you know, actually other Asians challenging you in different ways, and that was a real surprise to me. You know, I've had that in certain places. But now I feel I've got to a stage now where I'm confident enough in myself, and I work for a company that I know believes in, as these guys are saying, they look at the individual and nothing more. If I bring my best self to work, that's what gets me where I am, and that's the culture that I try to create. One of the big things that I did, very similar, I think it's you, Mark, I didn't like the makeup of my team. It was very male oriented, and I looked at my product organisation and I looked at my exec leadership team, who had very diverse teams, a good mix of, you know, men and women, and I wanted to create it because I thought it just brought a much better balance and different thinking and a different dynamic to the team. Not so much alpha, not so much, you know, just a little bit more just a better team. And one of the weird things, I articulated this to one of my colleagues, and I said to her, I really want to get like a lady or somebody who's different to lead one of my engineering streams. And she so you just want to hire a lady? And I was like, no. I want to hire a great person, but I want to add some diversity to my team. But you can't just hire somebody because they're a woman. And I'm like, no. I mean, we've worked together long enough. I would never do that, right? I want a great person. I just want to add somebody different into the mix. And that was where my first realization of, oh, okay, right, this might not be so easy as it sounds, because you're trying to do the right thing and you manage to accidentally trip yourself up. One of the things we did, we looked internally, and we are so blessed and so lucky that we had some really top talent internally. I could point to about 5 or 6 women in our organisation who are leaders. Some work for me, some are on the leadership team, and wow, just brilliant. And the dimension that they add alongside the guy, it balances everything out. And I've found that particularly, and one thing I've pushed for, particularly because, you know, I'm married, we've got 2 kids, and I've seen from my wife, who went through some horrendous on many different levels, from being a part-time mum and a lady of colour, some horrendous discrimination on all of those factors a few years back. And that when you see that, it's just like, wow, I'm not going to let that happen. So I consciously, and I don't care who says it, it's the right thing to do. I make sure that our top talent, who are ladies and of a diverse background, are looked after. There's a lady who's come back to work for us. Now she's come back off of maternity leave, and we've given her promotion straight away, because, not because she's a mother, but because she's brilliant. And I'd identified her as being brilliant beforehand, but I've made a point. She wanted to do this, and now she's on one of our management programs to go on an accelerated course going forward. But that's how we do it. We identify top talent no matter who they are, but equally we try to balance things out, and I think that's the right thing to do.
Correct. Okay.